Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot here. Something a little different to break the monotony. It came across this Andrew Tate video. It's called Tales of Wudan. It's not too long. It's only about 4 minutes, but it's interesting. Made me think about a few things, especially with what's going on with a lot of the men and young men in society. But check this out. I think you guys will find it pretty interesting.
Master Poe and the 9,998 butterflies.
Oh, and just a quick shout out. I know a lot of people don't like Andrew Tate, or they find him a little heavy. But glad he's out. I just hope that it's they let him out for the right reasons, not for something nefarious. And if you guys hear any noise in the background, it's because my dogs they're playing. They've been tied up all day, so I got home and now they're going a little berserk. But anyway, here we go.
In the year 606, I removed my top and walked into the tall grass of Wudan. It was amongst this grass, on these meadows, that Master Poe learnt to fight many thousands of years before.
I love the graphics. Now, I don't know if this is an actual story that or if it's one of his. I guess I have to look it up. If anybody knows if this is something that he's just putting out, or a book that he's reading, and he put some, some graphics behind it. If you can leave a comment, let me know. Thank you.
This grass was blessed by 9,999 butterflies of varying colors. Master Poe would pluck them from the sky before releasing them unharmed at lightning speed. Grabbing and hurting a butterfly is doable. To snatch one from the sky without damaging it was the art. Their irreplicable flight patterns are what built Poe's irreplicable style. He could pluck a butterfly from the sky, and with the exact same movement, he could pluck your throat from your neck.
Okay, now that right there, that's power. To grab a butterfly real gentle and still grab a motherfucker by the throat and break his neck, that's pretty rough.
Every few hundred years, you would see him once again descend into the meadow and dance through the grass, snatching and releasing many butterflies per second in a dizzying display. The butterflies were not only unharmed, but invigorated by their momentary capture, often fluttering particularly fast and high upon release, as if into the heavens above.
I guess it's almost as if he gave them a jolt of energy by doing that. It sounds like they knew that he was, I'm not going to say playing with them, but I guess using them for whatever skill he was trying to hone. And they liked the fact that he was catching them but yet releasing them unharmed, like really quick.
As adept number one, I understood I would one day succeed Poe himself. I had to learn what he knew to do what he could do. So I decided to attempt the same. I stood amongst the grass and began to move. Tiger's Claw failed, along with my snake fist. I spent 23 days moving, quickly and slowly, grasping at nothing but air. The butterfly...
Sounds like he was a little overzealous, trying to follow in his master's footsteps, but obviously there was a finesse that he didn't master the way his teacher did. So it sounds like the frustration setting in, which happens a lot with a lot of people when they want to be just as good as their teacher, or better. Even young boys, they want to be like their dads, but they want to at the same time like outbeat their dads, and they need to take those baby steps before they can even be on the same level, never mind above their fathers or their teachers.
Flies would land on me as if to taunt me, but my hands touched nothing. By my 24th day, my technique had begun to fail. My footwork was sloppy and my stances irregular. Instead of correcting myself, I let it happen. I didn't know it then, but these irregular movements of traditional style were the beginning of Tate Shinkai.
Sounds like he, like I said, sounds like he had to stumble before he can figure out what he was doing wrong. It's a sign of like overzealousness, at least in my eyes. That's what I'm taking from this. Wanting to do something with good intention, but just trying to do it too quick. It's like that rookie on a job. You know, I work construction, so we get these rookies that come in and right away they want to throw up 100 boards of sheetrock in a day, and they're not realizing that the guys that are doing it, it's taking them 10 years to have that much stamina to put up 100 boards of sheetrock. Meanwhile, these kids, they'll go and put up 20 boards and they're huffing and puffing, but they won't admit to it, but they want to drop. You know, it's kind of funny.
And 3 hours later, I caught my first butterfly. Excited, I held it in my hands as gently as I could and ran back to the temple to show Master Po. I ran up to him as he was drinking tea. Master, I have caught a butterfly, I exclaimed. He slowly placed his teacup on the ground, and a tear began to run down his face. Perplexed, I continued, "What's the matter? I've been very gentle. She's alive." It was at this moment that I opened my hands. And although I had been gentle, the many minutes in capture had saturated her wings with the natural oils found on the human hand.
Now there you go. He obviously did something wrong. I guess what he wasn't learning, he was paying attention to what his teacher was doing, but he wasn't learning. What his teacher was doing, his master was catching the butterfly and quickly releasing it. And that's the one detail that he overlooked, which happens a lot in life when young men want to do things. They have the potential, but they overlook the small details, and it ends up hurting them, or ends up making them stumble, and then they feel dejected, and then they got to start all over again as if they failed. And they didn't fail. They didn't lose what they learned. They just didn't gain enough to get to the next step. This is the way I'm perceiving all this.
I now understood why Poe's captures were so short. Catch with instant release. This was the consequence of prolonged contact. Her cage was open. She attempted to fly, but couldn't. She laid on my hand and died.
Sounds like opportunity. You can put this in so many ways. Listen to the story. You could put it in so many different aspects of a young man's life, of gaining something, and again, like I said, losing the opportunity because you missed a small detail. You were too overzealous. To have something once you got something in your hand, to respect it, enjoy it, understand it, and grow with it. It could be through anything, through knowledge and all that. I mean, you hear of a lot of young businessmen, they start a business and they're doing really, really well. I mean, they're just making bank, and then the smallest detail makes their company get into a lot of financial trouble. Then they lose it, and I know that feeling. I mean, I think any young man, any older man can tell a young man one instance in their life where they had it all and they lost it because they weren't paying attention. They weren't gentle enough with what they had obtained. Instead of taking it slow, they just basically, for lack of a better word, they blew their load too damn quick. Let's just put it that way. But let's continue.
I sat next to Poe and we cried together. I never understood why there were exactly 9,099 butterflies in this meadow. And although Poe never confirmed it, I fear there was once 10,000 before he made this very same mistake.
Now I wonder if when his master made this mistake, if he was being taught by another master and he was so good that there was 10,000 butterflies, but then when Master Po went in, even though he became a master himself, but it was at a cost. It was at a price, I should say.
There are still 9,998 butterflies atop Wudan. I never returned to the meadow. Such is the way of Wudan.
That was pretty deep. A lot of guys can take this in so many ways, in so many different areas of their life where they've thrived and succeeded and failed, or they just got too overzealous on many things. It could be from meeting a girl, your first date, or a girl you really want to be with, to a job you really want. So many different ways. A project you want to do. And if you don't pay attention to the small details, you can lose it. If you could be as strong as a warrior. I mean, warriors should always, in my eyes, warriors should always be strong, but yet any good warrior has to be gentle at the same time. I worked at an engineering. I worked in a hospital back home in the Bronx in the engineering department, and working with a lot of the guys there. I mean, a lot of these guys, they're a bunch of roughnecks. We all a bunch of roughnecks. And there was this one guy. He was always saving up money, to get, for his own stuff on the side, getting tattoos and stuff like that. But he was taking care of his wife and kids. And then one day we were just talking in the shop, and he said he was upset, and I was like, why are you so upset? And he said that the money he had saved, he wanted to get a whole sleeve done at one shot. It was going to cost him, I don't know, a few $1,000s. But something came up where he had to drop the money on his wife and kids, and he wasn't upset he had to do it for them because nobody else was, but he felt that that he wasn't getting a break because he was always working, and he always was. Every day he was always working, and working long hours, and he was an outlaw. He rolled with a club, and I told him, I said, well, you're a warrior, you got to take care of your tribe. And he said, well, he goes, yeah, I understand that, but when do us warriors get a break? And I told him, I said, a real warrior, his break, his reward at the end of whatever battle is knowing that his wife and kids are safe. And he looked at me like he was like, yeah, you're right. And I told him, I said, you didn't have the money, but your wife and kids are safe. At least you had the money saved. So there's instances in life where men could be dejected, especially now in this day and age, where a lot of young men, they don't have those role models to teach them, slow down. You could be a warrior, have all the training you want, but at the same time, you got to learn how to be gentle in many situations and learn how to release something that's so gentle, because you want it to continue. You want to continue, not just, it's not about just training just to go into the battle and die, and like I said, I mean, that's the way I see some of this. If I'm wrong, then maybe somebody knows more about this and could leave me a something in the comment section, or at least tell me if I'm on the right track, or is there a book or something. I'm gonna try to look into this some more, but this was pretty interesting, and I'm glad they let Andrew Tate go. I just hope it wasn't for nefarious reasons where they're gonna try to set him up or something like that. But glad he's out, and if you guys like what you see, like I said, I know it's a little different from all the other stuff I put out. Please comment, subscribe, help me keep the channel and algorithm going. And as always, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace. And also, you can catch me on Rumble under True Outlaw Patriot, and I'm leaving a link to this video down on the description. Peace.